Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với The Behind Stories. Mình là Sơn Râu. Nơi đây sẽ là câu chuyện về những khách mời đồng ngành với mình trong mảng truyền thông và sự kiện. Họ sẽ chia sẻ về những hành trình làm nghề vô cùng quý giá. Biết đâu câu chuyện của mình sẽ mở rộng con đường sự nghiệp cho các bạn. So, let's enjoy our stories.
Xin chào tất cả các bạn đã quay trở lại với Sơn Râu Podcast. Thì ngày hôm nay á, là mình có mời một vị khách khá là đặc biệt. Và cái tập này nó sẽ khác những tập trước. Là đây là tập đầu tiên mình quay ở góc độ là mình sẽ nói chuyện bằng tiếng Anh với người khách này. Thì hy vọng rằng là các bạn sẽ có những cái phần trải nghiệm cũng như là những cái câu chuyện thú vị đến từ người khách ngày hôm nay. So, welcome to our humble studios. So this is everyone. This is Mike. He's over millions subscriber on his YouTube channels, and he's sharing his knowledge about content creations, productivity. And today we're gonna talk about the YouTube growth. I believe this is the one is very hot topic for the Vietnamese audience because everyone right now we are looking of a way to create content for your social media. So this I think can you introduce a little bit about yourself for the Vietnamese audience?
Yeah, so a super quick introduction. I'm Mike. I basically run two companies. The first company is a personal development consultancy company that I started in 2016. And as you mentioned, the main marketing tool is YouTube. We just hit 1 million subscribers not too long ago. And we basically help people be more productive, do more in less time, and live a happier, healthier, wealthier life. The second company, I'm the CEO of Playstack, and that is B2B. So the first company is B2C, this company is B2B. And we help companies build their YouTube channels. So more revenue, more sales through YouTube. And that's pretty much what I do in a nutshell.
Wow, that's a lot of things that you are focusing on right now. So I think we started the Kickstart Today podcast, and one of the first questions, I think the audience is gonna curious about your YouTube creation journey. So how you start your content?
Right, so like I started in 2016, and at the beginning I didn't know any video editing. I didn't know how to make thumbnails. I didn't know anything about YouTube. I remember my first ever YouTube video, I posted it in November 2016, and it took me 3 weeks to make that 3-minute video because I was Googling, okay, how do I do this? How do I do that? But I managed to do it. I uploaded it and it didn't get any views. Then the next week I uploaded a second video, no views. The third week, no views. And it wasn't until about month 6 or 7 of posting every single week before the videos actually started to get views. I think what's important here is that I really enjoyed the process. And I really enjoyed what I was talking about, right? So I was talking about motivation, I was talking about personal development. And so I didn't give up in that 6 or 7 months because I was genuinely loved what I was talking about. And I think that's really important. If you're going to start a YouTube channel, you really need to firstly be very passionate, or at least really like what you're talking about. And secondly, enjoy the process, because we, like I say, we hit 1 million subscribers about a year ago now, and I've been aiming for this 1 million subscribers for 6 years, for 7 years. Like I've been focused. I was like, I can't wait until we hit 1 million subscribers. Like I really can't wait until we hit. It's such a big milestone. But I remember when it actually happened. I was in my office and I was watching the subscriber count go from 999, 998, and then 999, and then it hit 1 million. And I thought that it would be this massive euphoric moment and I would be celebrating and I would be partying. But I hit 1 million and I was like, okay, whatever. And I continued working. Like it really wasn't the euphoric moment that I thought it was. And I realized at that moment, it was like, you've really got to enjoy the journey. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And the last 6 years, the last 7 years have been incredible. So I think really focusing on the journey and enjoying the process is very, very important.
Okay, I understand. So what is your biggest challenge in terms of like the technical skills and in terms of mentalities? So when you overcome and you keep posting it until you hit 1 million subscribers?
Yeah. One of the biggest at the beginning of a YouTube channel is the technical ability. Like, how do you know how to become a good video editor? How do you know how to become a good thumbnail designer, you've got to learn a lot. You've got to learn about audience attention. You've got to learn about click-through rate for the thumbnails. And so one of the best ways to get better at that is networking or working with people that are a lot better than you or than me at that specific thing, right? So just before we were talking about working with a voice actor, a voice coach, because that's something that I can improve on. So I work with someone who's very, very specialized in that area, and then my communication becomes better. The same with video editing, the same with video editors. I very quickly hired people or collaborated with people that were much better than me, and it's kind of like a shortcut. You're learning from them. And that's the first way. The second way is the second problem is burnout. Like, burnout is huge when it comes to YouTubers. I was just recently at VidCon about a month or 2 months ago in Los Angeles. I talked to maybe 50 plus creators. I think every single one of them had experienced burnouts, just kind of hit a creative block. And so that's why sustainability is so important. I don't suggest that people be posting every single day if they can't sustain it for at least the next year, because burnout is very big when it comes to YouTube, because at the end of the day it is a treadmill in many ways, and that you just have to keep posting and posting and posting. So enjoying the process is very important.
Yeah. When I start doing the podcast, when I have some problems with the content I don't post, I feel a little bit guilty to my audience. Or you feel the same, and how do you overcome that?
So you've got to get the right balance, right? So I can make videos just for my audience. So there's specific topics for my audience that I know those topics, if I make those videos, they're going to get a lot of views. But there's no creativity in me. I have no incentive. I've probably made that video 10, 15 times before, even though I know my audience wants it. On the other hand, I can make videos for myself, videos that I'm very passionate about, and it keeps that creativity going. But I know that my audience won't necessarily like it as much, and it won't get as many views. So I think the balance here is posting videos in the middle that your audience will like, but also spark the creativity within you as well. So for example, I post every week, and then 3 of those videos will be videos that I know my audience will like. And then 1 of those videos will be something that I just want to do for myself to keep the creativity, to keep the sustainability going, and to not burn out.
I see. That's the way you balance it.
Absolutely, because I think you've really got to look after yourself. If you can look after yourself, it's the same financially, right? You look after yourself, and then if you're financially stable, then you can help the people around you, you can help your family, you can help charities, you can help your community. But you've got to be financially stable first. It's the same with YouTube. You've got to be emotionally and creatively stable first, and then you can serve, right?
Yeah, but right now, to me, content creations on YouTube is like a part-time things. It's not like full-time things. Right now, I believe this is become your full-time already, because it's a very long journey from 2016. But how we start as a newbie, how we can manage our times to grow and create the contents without sacrifice the jobs that we're having right now.
Yeah, so I started my YouTube channel in 2016. I was a university student, so I was studying full-time, and then I would, on the weekends and evenings, so I would finish university, I would go home on an evening, and I would do some video editing. And on the weekends, probably Saturday, maybe morning of Sunday, I would also do video editing and be building up that business. After I graduated from university, I moved to Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and I worked in finance. The same thing, I worked from 9 to 5, and then I got home, and then I worked on my business. I worked to a point where the YouTube channel and that business was earning more than what I was earning in my 9 to 5, and then I left the 9 to 5, right? So it was kind of a smooth transition, and it was difficult, I'm not gonna lie, working a 9 to 5 and then working an extra 2 or 3 or 4 hours that night. It is challenging, but that's why the transition was so easy. I think it's very difficult, especially if you have responsibilities like kids or a mortgage, to just quit your job and have no income and just be working all out. A lot of us would like to do that, but realistically it's very difficult. So I think that steady progression of just kind of hustling on the evenings and the weekends until you have that steady income, and then you take that step.
So how long does it take for you to get more steady income from the YouTube?
So for me, within 6 months, I was earning enough to live on, but just scraping by. And so that wasn't long, just 6 months. I think for most people it would be a year, 2 years, like realistically, because YouTube ad revenue is just the first income stream. But ideally, you want to be building businesses, right? So with YouTube channel, there's three main components. There's the traffic engine, which is the YouTube channel. You've got the monetization engine, which is the products or services that you have, and then you have the funnel in the middle that connects the two. And you've really got to optimize all three of them. A lot of people just focus on the YouTube channel and then rely on ad revenue, but it's like you don't really have a business, you don't really have products or services that you're selling. And this is a mistake that I made for like the first 3 years of my YouTube channel. I didn't have a business, I was just relying on ad revenue. So it takes time and you've got to be patient, and that's why you really got to enjoy the process.
I see. So the things when I would like to summarize that. The thing when we started YouTube, maybe the first couple of months and over years you cannot make an income from that. But then you should like balancing between the YouTube ads revenue and also your own business.
Yeah.
So what is your business you start when you handle YouTube?
Yeah, so the first product that I started was a course. So I was doing study advice videos. And so what I did was I created a course in about 2018. And that was like a game changer, because it was like, okay, I can go to sleep at night, I can wake up in the morning, and I've made money. Like I've sold courses, I've sold money, and I've made money, and it's like, that was a big moment for me. It was like moving from just a YouTube channel to now a business, and I have products and services, and scalable products and services. I think that's really important. I was doing one-on-one coaching for a little while, but it's very difficult to scale one-on-one coaching. So with YouTube is a scalable traffic engine. So you want to really match that with a scalable product and service. And so what I did was I had the YouTube channel, which is a scalable engine. I had the courses, which are scalable. And that was a big kind of game changer for me in the whole business. And that's what I would recommend a lot of YouTubers to do, which they already do. But there's a reason why a lot of YouTubers, they have courses, because it's a relatively simple way to monetize further your YouTube channel.
So you the first courses you monetizes, will you also in YouTube, or you use another third-party platform to sell your courses?
Yeah, so we use Kajabi, which is a course platform. So we have two courses. One is $179, one is $500. They're on how to get better grades and productivity. And Kajabi is incredible because you just pay a one-time fee. It's about $150-ish a month, or around $100 to $150 a month. But that's the only fee you have to pay. Then you have to pay Stripe and PayPal, and then that's it. So if I sell a $500 course, I've already paid for the fees, and I just have to pay about 2% PayPal fees. So you're looking at like 90+% profit margins, which is insane.
Oh wow. Wow. So the platform is, I think it's really similar like Skillshare.
It's slightly different. So I've got quite a few classes on Skillshare as well, and I've got quite a few classes on Udemy. And they're slightly different in that Skillshare is more lower ticket. So with Kajabi, I have complete control. I set my own prices, $179 and $500. With Skillshare and Udemy, you can set the price, but particularly Udemy, they will discount your courses for like $15, $20, and it really kind of devalues the value of the course. Skillshare is good, and Udemy are good for if you don't already have your own audience. Right, so if you don't have your audience, then you can sell those classes, those courses to Skillshare's audience and to Udemy's audience, and then make sales straight away. But if you have your own audience, like I have my own audience, then often Kajabi is better, but then you have to do all of the marketing. Whereas with Skillshare and Udemy, they do a bit of the marketing as well.
I see. So in Vietnam right now, when I observe about the course that a lot of like YouTubers, they try to sell on their YouTube and via the third parties platform. There's the problems that I see that sometimes I found out that the course have been downloaded and will sell by someone who stole the content. It's like sell in the bundles of a lot of like content, and sometimes you see it. So have you ever encountered that, and what is your suggestion how we can do with that?
Yeah, I have encountered that, and I've also looked for solutions, and I've talked to some pretty big YouTubers and pretty big course makers in like trying to pick their brain. Have they found a solution? I don't think there's an easy solution for that. I mean, you can take them to court, but that's expensive. There's a lot of obstacles to that. A lot of the time is just a case of accepting it in that it's kind of like a price of success in many ways. Like if your course is not that successful, then no one's going to try and steal it because they're not going to make money from it. But if your course is very successful, that's when you're going to find those problems. But I don't think there's an easy way to do that, because like you can get free courses of most, but then you would add a different element to your course to kind of fight back from that. Meaning you could add a community, right? So and then you can control that community. So like a Slack community or a Facebook community, and then you control who is invited into that community. And if you have a fake course, then you can't prove it. But if you have a legit real course, then you have access to that community. So you can have add-ons like that. Even like access to one-on-one success coaches, right? And then if you buy a legit course, then you have to prove that you've bought a legit course, and then you have access to that. So yeah, there's different kind of bonuses or value that you can provide that you can only get if you buy the real course, as opposed to just having access to the fake courses.
I understand that, because I think there's a thing about the mindset of the one who bought the fake class or from the real class. I think the mindset will be about like, if you pay for someone who really do their work, and you get the content and you get the knowledge that from that person, and maybe from that content you can get paid from another client because from what you're doing. But when you pay for the steel class, what you expect the client will pay you? It's about the mindset. Absolutely. So I think if we can send a message to the audience, especially the one who only buy the steel class, maybe they can think about that.
Absolutely. It's like if you buy a course, you've got skin in the game. It's like my YouTube channel, I give free value, like 95% of my content is free. But the number of people that watch my videos, let's say they watch a video on procrastination, and then they'll watch another video, and then they'll watch another video, and then they're just procrastinating, right? Because it's free value. And if we've got another product with Playstack, it's a mastermind. And so it's basically a community of high-level YouTubers, high-level business people, and we all focus on one thing: grow faster on YouTube and make more money. And that mastermind is $4,000. So you can bet that if you're paying $4,000 to join that mastermind, you're really going to put everything into, you're really going to commit to growing your YouTube channel and making more money, as opposed to my Udemy courses that sometimes they discount them to like $10, $15, and so many people buy those courses, but then they don't even open them. They just stay in their inbox because they're just paying $10, so they're not really committed. But if you're paying a lot of money, then you're going to put a lot more effort into it.
I can understand that. Yeah, I need to look at the questions. Sorry, because I so into what you're saying right now, so I forgot the questions. Yeah. So I think most of the positive part we already share about that, but I would like to talk about a little bit negative part. So the negative that you're gonna encounter a lot, that the negative reviews and some hateful comments and about your content. So sometimes you can get a lot of like that. So how can you deal with that?
So this is kind of like there's no magic wand that you can just wave and then you suddenly become like negative comments don't affect you anymore. I think one thing that really helped me was, I remember during in 2020, during the COVID outbreak, I remember Jack Dorsey, the founder of Twitter, he donated $1 billion to charity, right? $1 billion. And I remember some news outlets like Sky News and CNN, they were kind of reporting it. And then in the comment section, there was so much hate of like saying like, why didn't he do it privately? Why did he have this kind of money in the first place? And I'm like, $1 billion was a third of his wealth. So he was worth about $3 billion at the time. So he gave away a third of his wealth. And he's like, if someone can give $1 billion to charity and still get hate, it's like, it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to get hate, right? And so with YouTube, like, you know, you're always going to get, you know, especially the bigger your channel is, and also depending on your niche as well. So some niches are more controversial or more, or attracts more hate. So my niche is personal development, so I don't get that much. And I think also my first ever video, I remember I was so nervous to put it out, and it was like 7 or 8 p.m. and I was looking at the comments, like my eyes were fixed on the comments the whole night, and no one gave me a negative comment. They were all positive comments. Now that video has about 2 million views now, and 500 plus comments. There's not one single negative comment. So it was like, I was nervous, I was apprehensive. I thought that I would get some hate, like maybe people would laugh at my voice or how I look or something like that. But people generally don't seem to care. And if people do care, they do give you hate. It's more a reflection on them as opposed to you. But also at the same time, sometimes some hate can be good. Like some hate can be, you can kind of turn it around and use it as feedback. So for example, if someone says that the background of the videos are too messy, then you know, you can then work on that for the next. So you can kind of use those negative comments as feedback in some ways, as long as you're not letting it get too personal.
Okay, I understand that. So because in right now in Vietnam that we have two ways of making content. The first one is very controversial.
Yeah.
It creates a lot of attentions, and then you create a lot of educational content, but it's where we slowly grow because right now we love looking at more like controversial content rather than the educational content. It's where you still serve the one who love educations, but it's like you growing is very slow. So sometimes you come into I call it the valley of despair. You're very upset and you realize why I try to do so much things and so many videos but still got no views. Yeah. So that's the reason why.
And you know, like you say, you have a choice. You can go education, or you can go controversial, or you can kind of do something in the middle. You know, humans are naturally they're naturally drawn to negativity. It's like, I remember reading a story a while back. So like millions of years ago, if someone was walking past a tree and there was an apple hanging from the tree, they probably wouldn't notice the apple. They would just walk straight past. However, if that same person was walking past the tree and there was a snake, a poisonous snake dangling from the tree, they would really notice that because that snake could kill them. And so it makes sense from an evolutionary perspective that we pay attention to negativity more than positivity. And I think that's why controversial videos and controversial content does so well. And I know in Vietnam, controversial content is really well.
Yeah, that's right.
So it really depends. If you want to go down that route, then you kind of need to have a thick skin and deal with the hate, because it's kind of risk and reward, right? You grow faster, but then maybe you get more hate towards you.
So okay, so what is your suggestions on that for the content creators in Vietnam in terms of like focus on more like controversial contents, or still focus on more educational, or then only niche? Because based on the niche, it's very difficult to get the views and get the followers right away, because it takes a lot of time to grow that.
Yeah. I think it's about getting the right balance. And it depends on what type of controversial content, right? So there's some content that is controversial and it's just negative, it's like gossip, it's not productive, it's not good content, and I think we need less of that just in the world in general. But I think there's controversial content in that it's productive, it's helpful, it might be a different opinion on something, but it's educated. So for example, one of our clients at Playstack, we made a video on, they're a business and they have a business on, basically they buy and sell businesses, that's their business. And so I was like, okay, what can we make that's slightly controversial, that that will get a lot of views, but is not too controversial, because they're still a business, they need to keep their brand image. And so we made a video for them how Elon Musk is a genius for buying Twitter at $44 billion. And it's slightly controversial in that most people, including himself, believe that he overpaid. Like he said in a couple of his podcasts that he paid double what he should have paid. So it's slightly controversial in saying that he's a genius for buying Twitter at $44 billion. But what the company did was what we advised our client to do was to back that up with education, like what are the benefits to him buying that company for $44 billion. And so that's what I mean by like slightly controversial and slightly going against the grain in that it's going against what most people believe. But at the same time, it's not negative, it's not damaging, it's not gossip, it's not tearing down other people's reputation and things like that, but it's just slightly controversial, and I like that. And it is a fine balance.
So it's still got the whole perspectives of that entire area.
Exactly, yeah. And that video outperformed all their previous videos for the last 5 or 6 months. So it worked.
Okay, I see. So that's a little bit slightly controversial, but it's still got your own perspectives in that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, I see. So that's a very amazing thing that I heard. This is the first time I heard about that, because I used to talk to a lot of people and the content creators, they never shared that angles to me before. Yeah,
a lot of what we talk about with our clients is having a strategic angle. So you don't just want to be making videos randomly on just like topics that come up from your head. What we often do, so we work with a company, and just 3 weeks ago, so we onboarded them 3 weeks ago. Within 1 week, we made for them, it's a 5-year-old channel, so they've been posting about 950, 960 videos. So it's quite an old channel. We posted one video for them, we tripled their views in that one video. In the second video, we outperformed every single video on that entire channel. And there's like 930 videos on that channel, we outperformed them all. The way we did that is we found the gaps in the market, we came in very strategically. So what we did was we found their competition, the other YouTube channels, we ranked their videos for most popular. So we already know like what topics people want to see, because those most popular videos will be showing that. And then we made videos similar to those that are all optimized for the algorithm, a good title, good SEO, good thumbnail, good intro, editing is on point, outro is very brief, and so like that's how we kind of. And I think every content creator should come at YouTube growth from a strategic standpoint and not just be making random YouTube videos.
Okay, I understand. So, but there are so many content creators right now. So how can they know all of that process? Because there's a lot of things, making intros or thumbnails, SEOs, a lot of things. It's like your content creators process is become a company by itself, because you have to do a lot of things, including the editing, voice, scripting, everything.
Yeah.
So how can individuals, content creators can do that by themselves?
Well, I think the first way is not to do it by yourself. So like meeting with other content creators, like going to content creator events and meeting with other people that are maybe on the same level as you or slightly higher than you, asking for their opinion, how do you do it, listening to these kind of podcasts and learning. I think also another one is using the 1% rule, and the 1% rule is basically every video should be 1% better than the video before that. So you should never, your video should never stay the same, right? So you should look back, and 1%, if you're improving 1% every day or every week or every content, over 3 weeks, over 6 weeks, over 10 weeks, you're not going to see that much difference. But if you look back at your content a year ago, you should see a significant difference, a significant improvement. And it's the same with, it's not just with YouTube, but it's the same with every content. It's even the same in just life in general. Like whatever you're trying to get good at. So I go boxing and I do MMA, and I'm trying to get 1% better every single time, and I'm not seeing much changes in the first month, in the 2 months, but over a year, I see some significant improvements because the compound effect really does kick in.
I see. So because you are saying that you are advising the YouTuber and the content creators to grow their channels, can you pick one of them? Can you describe the journey that you work with them about you are helping them to grow their channels?
Yeah, so the first thing we do is a market analysis. So the client comes in, we do a market analysis, we find out the competition, We find out what's working in their field. We find out what's not working in their field. We look at other YouTube channels. What are they doing really good? What are they doing not so good? And then all the things that they're doing really good, we want to match that. And all the things they're not doing good, we improve it. So for example, the thumbnails should be very clear, bright, hopefully a face in the thumbnail, because from a psychological perspective, a face captures your attention better than just an inanimate object. So there's a lot of different things that we work on. So once we do a market analysis, then we work with them the script, because the script is so important. The scripts or the content is like the pillar. You can have like poor everything. Like you can have an unoptimized thumbnail, unoptimized title. As long as the script is good, then that will carry like 50-60% of what makes a viral video. And then we do the editing, and then they film, and we do a lot of consulting. Okay, the lighting can be improved here and there. They send us the footage, and then our editors get to work. They optimize everything. So a really important thing here is the introduction should be relatively short, and you get straight into the video. You go straight into the value.
Yeah, the value, the juicy things.
Exactly. Yeah, like 3 or 4 years ago, you could get away with a long 1 minute, 2 minute introduction, but now in 2023, you just need to get straight into the value. It's the same with the outro as well. You don't want to be having a 1 minute or 2 minute outro, because you're going to see the audience attention graph in the back end of YouTube. As soon as you start, and we've seen this with our clients time and time again, as soon as you start saying words like the signal to the viewer that the video is coming to the end, the audience attention will just plummet. And we see, like, as soon as a client will say, okay, to summarize this video, boom. As soon as you say, like, you show the viewer that it's coming to an end. So the outros are very important. That you generally should just have one call to action, like asking them to go to a website or whatever. And just keeping it 10-20 seconds. Like outros should be relatively abrupt. Almost like you don't even know the video is coming to the end, because as soon as people know the video is coming to the end, they're going to click off. So like we optimize everything for audience attention.
So for your client right now, which area that you are focused on in your state in US or UK, or you focus on other Asia's country right now?
Primarily, we focus on Vietnam, the US, and Europe. Like that's where most of our clients. Actually, primarily in this order: US, Europe, and Vietnam.
Europe and Vietnam.
Yeah.
So we are growing for the YouTube content creators in Vietnam as well. So how can you come with the competitions between others like advisors in terms of like in Vietnam, which is the differentiations between you and others?
Yeah, so like we have case study after case study after case study of where like our kind of bold claim is that we can relatively easy double your views within 30 days. And then we can double your YouTube revenue within 60 days. And we have a lot of case studies to back that up. Like I told you, one of our clients, we outperformed, and this was just recently, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we outperformed 930 of their videos, and we got the top performing. And it's all organic, right? We do not touch YouTube ads, so we don't put money behind the ads. We just optimize the entire thing. Like I've been on YouTube for 7-8 years. What we do is we're not just a general marketing company. We do one product. We focus on YouTube. That's all we do. Every single person in my team is obsessed with YouTube. We're not like a traditional agency where we do Facebook, we do LinkedIn, we do YouTube. We don't do all the other platforms, because if you're focusing on 10 platforms, then it's likely that you're not specializing in any one of them. But we just go all in with YouTube. That's what we live and breathe.
I understand. That's great, because when you see here, in the agencies, internal agencies, we like building the entire social media house for the clients, especially the client wants to represent on Facebook, Instagrams, and sometimes on YouTube as well. But when look at the glance, when you compare all the view, all the things together, it's nothing really truly performs in any particular platforms. Yeah, that's what I see. Because yesterday I'm talking to a clients. They build their own hotels channels, and they want to put on Facebook and TikTok and etc. But they said that you can focus on one platform only. Maybe it's Facebook, maybe Instagram, which is much better for you to grow your own channels rather than you focusing on every single channels.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's the same with business, right? Any project, any business. This is how I don't understand how Elon Musk does it, where he's like the CEO of Tesla, CEO of SpaceX, he was the CEO of Twitter, he's the chairman of Solar City, he's got Neuralink, he's doing work with ChatGPT. Like, how is he doing so many things? He's some kind of alien, I don't know.
Yeah, he's from Mars.
Yeah, I think so. But most normal people should just be focusing on like one thing and doing that thing really well, because the more spread out your resources are, the harder it is.
I think that's maybe the next topic on your YouTube channels. You break down his mind about how he become more like multitasking CEOs of every single biggest company in the world.
Yeah, I've made one of those videos before, and like I've done a bit of research. I read his book, his biography, and did a fair bit of research. And I think there's two main things. Well, there's one main thing, and he has a massive purpose. Like, his purpose is to make the human species multiplanetary. Right? And it's like, who has such a big mission? Like, my mission is not that big, but his mission is so big to change the human species. And I think that's what really drives him. And I also think a little bit of it is genetic as well, in that he can read books, he can consume information, and he can just keep it and retain it in his mind. Whereas for most of us, if we read a book, we would probably forget about 90%. And then there's one more thing which I think is relevant to this conversation, is he surrounds himself with the best people in certain areas. Like, he's surrounded himself with the best aerospace engineers. He's surrounded himself with the best automobile engineers for Tesla. And that is a big thing, like having good people around you that are very good at what you do, that have good energy, have good intelligence, and have good integrity. I think those three things, when working with people, are very important.
Yeah, I think there will be the same thing with Steve Jobs. Well, when I read his books, his biography about the way he's working, he also surrounded himself with a very talented people in his area. Yeah, so I think that's the same thing with Elon Musk right now.
Sure, and I think first you have to achieve things, because Elon Musk, he co-founded PayPal, and so that's how he made a lot of his money at the beginning. And once you've kind of proven yourself, then you can attract higher people. Then once you've proven yourself again, you can attract even higher people. And now it's like, if you're an engineer, you want to work at the best companies. Like, if you're one of the best engineers, probably you want to work at Tesla. If you're an aerospace engineer, and if you're really, really good at that, you probably want to work at SpaceX. So if you're the best in the industry, then you can attract that quite easily.
That's great. And I think we will come to the last questions I want to talk with you about before we end the podcast. I think the thing I want to share right now, what is your best advice for the last from 2016 until 2020, the advice for the YouTube content creators, for the beginners when they try to start a YouTube? What is the best advice? I think
the best advice, it's a bit boring advice, but it's really important. Just start. Don't overthink things. Don't think that you need some big, massive cameras. Everyone has a camera in their pocket. Or most people have a smartphone. You can just use a smartphone. Don't even need a microphone a lot of the time. If you're starting, just use what you have, and then from there, work on making every single video 1% better. So one video you can focus on making the audio just slightly better. The second video you can make your presentation, your communication style a little bit better. Then the third video, your background a little bit better. That's how I started. If I look back at my early videos, I cringe at how terrible they were. But like, that's how you grow. If you look at Mr. Beast, one of the biggest YouTube channels out there, if you look at his early videos, they're terrible. They're absolutely terrible.
That's right.
But he leaves them up there because then you can see the journey that he's made. You can see, like, even guys with 150 million subscribers, even they started off terrible, and that's totally okay.
That's great. Because when I saw Mr. Beast's podcast, and he also shared the same things, that you just have to be 1% better than the yesterday. Just the script, just be better than 1%, just 1% every single day, and then you can make it.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to be better in doing the podcast, in doing the interviews, and doing the content that I'm trying to bring it to the audience. Maybe in the long journey, it gets some attention from the people who really love it.
Yeah,
content.
I mean, like you're already at a really good standard right now, and if you are working 1% better, it'll be really interesting in a year's time to see the difference between this podcast and the podcast in a year's time, like how things will change.
That's great. So, any things that you want to share before we end the content in advance? For I don't know, something that you would like to talk about.
Not particularly. If you want to reach out to me, Mike Dee official on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, MikeDee.com is my website. If you want to reach out, if you need any YouTube consulting growth advice, even if you're just a complete beginner, just reach out and I'll do my best to get back to you.
So that's amazing. That's great. I think the audience will find a way to reach out to you, reach out your channel first to get to know you first, and then we can have some more chit chat later on with your new clients.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. Thank you very much for joining the podcast today and joining the studios. So hopefully we can have a next podcast with you with another episode.
I hope so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nếu đã xem đến cúng cùi thì đừng chần chờ gì nữa, hãy chia sẻ với những bạn bè đang tạo nghiệp, tạo nên sự nghiệp ha. Nếu bạn mong muốn nghe về chủ đề nào thì hãy comment cho Sơn Râu Podcast. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại các bạn trong những tập tiếp theo.